NBA Straya, how are you going? How you going? Are you right? I bloody well hope you are, because you better be, because it's almost Olympic basketball time. That's right. I am Jaymz Clements. I'm your host here at NBA Straya. It is, it's technically July 23, Tuesday, but let's call it Wednesday, because I think that's when this show is going to go up. The thing is, I'm here in the fancy studio once more. The, what do we call it? Producer homie, the Jaymz Clements Memorial and Excellence in Podcasting Studio. Yep, nailed it. We're here to talk Olympics. Gay Paris 2024. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. And the coolest part is we've got a slew of guests today. So I'm going to break down each of the groups. I'll do a little bit of news at the top. But outside of that, we've got a big Olympic preview with friend of the program, Chris Anstey, jumping on. Former Boomer, played in the Sydney and Beijing Olympics, all the good stuff. And then we also have the big ones, Josh Giddey and Dyson Daniels, who are there right now in Paris. That's awesome. I had a chat with them a couple of weeks ago. So you're going to enjoy this, what I reckon. But we'll break down each of the groups as well very, very quickly about, look at some of the warm-up games that have happened. I tend to not put a giant amount of stock in the warm-up games, but you do sort of tend to learn some things about the teams and the way that they go about things. So we'll hit on some of that. Sound good? Good. Great. The coolest part on top of all this is we're doing a big live stream on Saturday because what is it? It's Boomers time. What do we do when the Boomers play, Jim? Live stream. You might have to cast your mind back to some of the great moments during COVID and stuff like that when we did a bunch of runs of the Boomers live streams throughout, the 19 World Cup, the Tokyo Olympics, last year's World Cup as well. So going to sink our teeth into a bit of that. Should be pretty good. All right. So without further ado, let's get into this one. Episode 1127 of NBA Australia. Let's go.
This is Joe Ingles, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better. What else? Oh, you better watch out for the South Sudan attack for the USA. Jeez, that game was sick. How cool was that? Can't believe they needed, the last second buckets to get over South Sudan. We've had a couple of fun, some of them have been fun. I just want to temper that a little bit. Some of the warm-up games have been wicked. Some of the other ones have been pretty meh, but whatever. Let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Show with the daily whip around. It's not exactly daily. I haven't done a show for a week and a bit, which has been a nice little break, because now we've got Olympics and my holidays have just been thrown in complete disarray, but either way, that's on me. The daily whip around is Summer League. The Miami Heat are the champions. They get rings. Can you believe this, producer homie? I love this. I love that they get rings winning Summer League. It's kind of nice because they've put a lot of time and effort into winning Summer League, but by the same token, it's Summer League. What are we doing? A ring? Wayne Ellington is the coach of the Heat. I remember watching him stink it up for the Nets. I always had a little bit of time for Wayne Ellington. He was a really good idealized version of a player rather than an actual player. It's I like the idea of him, and then sometimes he'd do that, but that makes the big difference between an actual role player who sticks around for a really, really, really long time and one who sort of goes here, there, bit of everywhere, and never quite gloms on anywhere. That was Wayne Ellington. Anyway, good on him for winning Summer League. Good job, Miami. They beat the Grizzlies. That was a really, to be honest, I don't put much stock in Summer League either. I watch a bit of it. People do ask me, Jim, Summer League. And I'm it's good to see some of the young folks sort of running around, and I've got to go there one day and have a bit of a look-see. And I know it'd be absolutely psycho, and I reckon I'd love it. But by the same token, watching the games over here, it's a bit rough, I'll tell you. Oh, jeez. But anyway, outside of that, congrats to the Heat, you won. Other news: the new media deal. TNT have matched Amazon Video's part of the new media rights deal with the NBA. So I think Prime Video was $1.8 billion. Just chump change. Considering that TNT were paying, the 2.6 to have the big package, now they got the little package. Couldn't be me. Get it? It's a penis joke, homie. It's a penis joke. Thing is, it's an interesting one because Prime Video have Thursday night football, so NFL, right? And they were like, cool, we'll have Thursday night basketball. And then, like, it'll be a big thing when NFL's done. Now it's just a normally big thing still on TNT, which is good, I guess. It also probably means we keep inside the NBA with Charles, Kenny, and Shaq, and Ernie. So why not? It's also kind of like Warner Brothers Discovery just go, yeah, look, we just saved money and we still have the NBA. And you're like, okay. It means you don't have the Tuesday night deals, I guess. But it's interesting because like TNT, they've matched the Amazon deal. And Prime Video were basically going to have Thursday nights after it's sort of done with the NFL. The other nights it was going to have were Friday and Saturday. So basically, TNT have gone in and gone, whoa, we'll probably just take the Thursdays and keep it as it was. And you're like, oh, that's cool. So now we've got ESPN and ABC as well as NBC, Round Ball Rock. This means wall-to-wall, different kind of coverages. And this is one of my favorite things about sports broadcasting. Competition breeds way better broadcasting when it comes to pretty much any sport. You see with the AFL, you might know that I do the AFL Today show as well. And one of my bugbears is basically the way that AFL is presented on telly isn't that great or innovative because it's hard and it costs a lot of money to do so. What's your reasoning for putting money into your broadcasting? To make you stand out to other advertisers, right? That you're trying to get away from possibly being, on the other channels like ESPN or someone like you want their money with you to recoup your $1.8 billion of your TNT. So essentially, like it's behooving upon you to make your stuff look cool, make it look fresh, make it look interesting to advertisers. At least having NBC come in as well sort of throws a cat amongst the pigeons. I love that. And it'd be interesting to see, Fox doing all of the AFL stuff. I'm just saying to bring it back to footy, doing all their own stuff at each of the games next year. We'll see what happens with AFL. But there's just so much room for improvement with AFL that it makes me angry. Anyway, good job, NBA. Make your money. Speaking of making your money, Sam Hauser, the White Assassin. I love this. Wasn't there a Marvel character like the White Tiger? It's like a karate lady. Oh, Moon Knight. Yeah, he was another dude. That's Oscar Isaac, isn't it? Sam Hauser made a bunch of money, $45 million. I love that Wick Grosbeck is like, fuck it. You get a contract. You get a contract. We won the title. You get a contract. He's like fucking James Harden in a strip club. He's like, money everywhere, putting you all like generational wealth for everybody. Generational wealth for everybody. Sam Hauser's like, $45 million for me? Like, he's as flabbergasted as anybody. But Wick Grosbeck's selling the fucking team. He's like, I don't have to pay them these contracts. This is awesome. It's like, you get to say, it's basically the best of all worlds. Like, you've won the title. You're giving everybody a new contract. You look like a fucking hero. Then you sell the team and peace out. And it's like, I don't have to pay the bill. That's fucking sick. He's got free dinner. I'm out. Bye. Off you go. And Spencer Dinwiddie is back with the Mavs. You might not have heard about this one the other day, but pretty nice. 1 year deal. He was good on the Mavs, remember? For a little bit. And then was part of that Nets trade. It was all weird. And then we had the Spencer Dinwiddie sweepstakes in the middle of last year in the buyout market. How did that work out, Lakers fans? Not great, Jim. Yeah, no shit. Right. Outside of that, I guess the big sort of news that we've got is that Dante Exum had a compound dislocation of his finger. Now, when they say compound, producer homie, that means it's broken the skin. It's like a compound fracture in your leg. You know what that means? You've snapped your fucking leg and it's gone through the skin. If you've dislocated a finger and it's broken the skin, do you know how fucking bad you've dislocated a finger? Really fucking bad. That's gross. The thing is, Olds is out there reporting he's sticking around. It's his right index finger. I feel like that's pretty important when it comes to basketball, just saying. Anyway, so Dante is sticking around with the Boomers. He's not going to play against Spain. They're keeping him around because he could return at some point later in the group stage or presuming they get through the group stage into the quarters. So I feel like this was an interesting case of them going, do we really need Dante these first couple of games? No, because he's injured. Then you maybe could have gone, fuck, do we need him the rest of the way? Maybe we bring in Matisse and just smooth that all over. But I'm not there in the Boomers Brain Trust. Yet. Just saying. So this sucks because Dante was playing really, really well. And it sounds like a horrible injury, and he ran off really fucking quick. Straight into the old locker room, etc. But either way, turns out no fracture, which is really, really good. So you hope that he can recover pretty quickly and, recover his touch as well, because it doesn't sound very bloody nice. Right, outside of that, just wanted to quickly shine a quick light on the bit of the Opals and the way that they're going about it, because we're going to talk a lot about the Boomers with Gids, with Dyson, and with Chris. Chris and I do talk Opals as well. But in terms of like their Olympic hopes, like it's just, we don't do a massive amount of coverage on them because other outlets do it way better than we do on NBA Australia. But our vibe on Lauren Jackson is the absolute GOAT, like, of Australian basketball. You know me, I love Gazy, love Medali. But LJ, 5 Olympics, she's an absolute weapon. You know, just WNBA MVPs, champ, just a weapon. So exciting times. And if you look at their sort of setup, they go into this one like with a really, really interesting team. And I can't wait to watch me some Opals, because you've got like a bunch of really cool young players and you've still got LJ. Like, it's awesome. So they play, Canada, Nigeria, and France. So that'll be pretty interesting. And I am fascinated to see how we go. I think they'll be all right. Izzy Bolace, LJ, Kayla George, Tess Madigan. Oh, this team's going to be unreal. Izzy, Jade Melbourne. Can't wait. Love me some Opals. We'll be getting right around the girls as well, so that'll be pretty fun. So just remember, keep them in the back of your mind. All right. Now, I reckon we'll do a quick Olympic preview. We've sort of covered off all the groups very quickly. Then we'll go to Chris. Then we'll go to Josh. Then we'll go to Dyson. And then we'll come back with our game previews for the Spanish game, right? The Spain-Australia game, and have a look at some of the odds. But now that we've had a couple of these warm-up games done under the belt, how are we all looking? So Group A, of course, the group of death. It's a murderer's row. I keep making the joke. It doesn't get funnier as I keep saying it, but still, Spain, Canada, and Greece. That's the order we play them in as well. We've had interesting looks at some of our starting lineups for the Boomers. We've gone 5-1 in our warm-ups. We've started the last little bit, Giddey, Mills, Dyson, my best mate Nick Kay, and Rock'em, Sock'em, Block'em, Jock'em, Landale here and there. You've also had Will the Thrill, Magnay play a lot of minutes. Duop got a bit of a run against France. And like the Boomers have looked pretty good. The France win was pretty cool. They kind of gave up the ghost late, but they still won it, which is kind of nice. Nearly won the USA game. The Serbia game was very handy. Good stuff, right, all around. It does still look pretty scrappy. It's very team-based basketball, which is good for FIBA. It's really hard to get a read on just how well they're vibing. Like, I want to see more sort of like of the jock at the pivot doing cool stuff. Maybe more Duop instead of Will the Thrill, because it feels like, Gorge has been playing a lot of Will the Thrill. I don't know. McVeigh's been shooting all right. Nick Kay didn't have a great one against France, but he's been handy. Outside of that, the other teams there, like Spain, they've, had an okay run, but I've sort of talked up a bit of their qualifying run was really, really good, but they didn't, they beat Lebanon and a bunch of other sort of teams that weren't that great to qualify, so they sort of walked over those teams. Australia's actually the second favourite to get out of this group. It's Canada, then us, then Spain, then Greece. And Greece as well, they just got shellacked by Serbia last night, so that would have been Monday night, because this is taped on a Tuesday, probably out on a Wednesday, but still. So in terms of, a bit of form, Canada lost to the USA, but have been really, really good in some of their other games. Australia's looked pretty good as well. So it feels like those odds are pretty bang on if you want to look at the way that, the odds are for teams to get out of the actual groups, right? That's how it goes. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's Canada, Australia, Greece, and Spain. So the fact that Greece is actually ahead of Spain tells you a little bit about Spain. It's Santi Aldama. You've got a bit of the Hernan Gomez brothers. They're going to play really tough, awesome, hard-nosed basketball, but they're not. And they're still the second-ranked team in the old FIBA rankings. So I think Spain's being a bit undersold there with those odds as the fourth in the group. So a bit of a tough one, but I still reckon Australia can get out of the group. Just saying. Let's go to Group B, where you have France, Germany, Brazil, and Japan. Those are actually, that's the order in which they are, favoured to come out of the group as well. France, the host nation, just that amount of size, it's ridiculous. You're just like, come on, man, Wemby and Gobert, that's just a cheat code. Remember how Joel Embiid's like, I don't want to play for them. They want me to sort of, commit early. I don't want to do that. I'm Joel Embiid. It's like, yeah, we've all learned a very valuable lesson there, Joel. But France, look, they've had a bit of a rough run in their lead up to the point where I don't think they've won any of their warm-up games, which is, well, their last four I think they've lost. They lost to Germany. They lost to Serbia. They lost to Canada, and they lost to us. So not great for the host nation, but at the same time, this is why you don't put a giant amount of stock in it in these warm-up games. It's like, yes, they give you an interesting indicator, but still at the same time, France are relying on a lot of Evan Fournier and Nando De Colo and stuff. And you're like, that's a bit worrisome, but they should still be all right in that group against Brazil and Japan. And then, of course, as I said, the Germans here, World Cup champs, nearly beat the USA. It took LeBron going, oh, bloody hell. What do you mean I got to try? It's a fucking warm-up game. This is bullshit. I'm LeBron James. He has to come out there and kick some ass, take some names, and they run over him. But Germany are going to be just tough regardless, right? They've looked really good at times in these warm-ups. They look scrappy at other. That's what they also looked like in the fucking World Cup, and then they won the entire thing. So I'm not worried about Germany to the point where that France-Germany game is going to be massive for who gets the highest seed in that group. Outside of that, Brazil, Japan, bless your cotton socks, but I'm not reading a giant amount into either. Like, the Germans absolutely just kicked the heads in of Japan. And prior to that, they played Korea and beat them just. I don't know. And Brazil, look, they've got a couple of interesting names, but they're not. And they will be a little bit more athletic than you sort of expect. They've got some pretty decent basketball players on there. But, yeah, this is France and Germany Group B. And that's why the odds for, I think, Brazil at the moment are $31 to get out of the group. So, yeah. Yeah, not great, bro. And then finally, Group C, of course, the USA, $1.06. It's funny that it's even that long. But you do look at the way that they've played, the way that Joel Embiid's played, and you go, Serbia, interesting. $7.25 for them to win the group. Nikola Jokic, hello. He just goes, if I win, maybe I buy more horses. And off he goes. But then you got South Sudan, who were fucking fantastic against the USA the other day. They're at $26, which is pretty fun. And Puerto Rico is 101. They've got Grand Theft Jose Alvarado. But South Sudan have got an awesome story behind them where there's obviously a big, strong connection with the Australian basketball programs and South Sudan, where a slew of the players have been in Australia, etc. And there was the incredible story that's popped off about how there are no indoor basketball courts in South Sudan for them to train on. And so they've had to train in other places, and you're like, oh, yeah, geez, this is a cool story. Give them hell, South Sudan. So they're my second team. I love South Sudan. We're just going full-blown South Sudan. It's going to be awesome. But by the same token, yeah, when the actual rubber hits the road, it's going to be a bit tough for them to get past by USA and Serbia, but never count them out. That's a lot of length and athleticism on South Sudan. In terms of the actual outright looks at who could win the gold medal in France, USA is $1.22, wild favourites. Canada is at $10.50. Don't mind that. Beat them in the World Cup last year. As everyone sort of pointed out in this run-up, the USA is a team of champions, not perhaps a champion team, where you've got a bunch of awesome big-name players, but do they know how to play against each other? Now, far be it from me to call Steve Kerr, master coach, NBA champion, 4 times. Far be it from me to call him a fraud, but just saying, when you don't have Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green in combinations thereupon. Coaching basketball can be a bit fucking hard, can't it, Steve? And he's like, dude, I've got 12 of the best players on the fucking planet. We're going to win the gold, Jim. I'm like, yeah, I get it. France are third at $14. So is Serbia. Germany, 23, and Australia, 34. Interesting. You gonna have a flutter on Australia? I reckon I will. Just saying. All right. There you go. Let's now go and have a chat with more Olympic stuff with our very good friend Chris Anstey. Then we'll chat to Josh Giddey about his role in this Olympics, and then Dyson Daniels. Well, I think we were watching the footy, so it's pretty cool. Check it out right after I'm going to play this one.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kiddey.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're
Australia.
listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, now we welcome in a friend of the program, one of the very best friends of the program, actually. He might be right up there at the top of the leaderboard for most guest appearances on NBA Australia. He is also a former Boomer. He's a pub owner, a basketball team owner as well. Watch out. It's our very good friend. What was it? 08 Olympics, Boomers, Chris Anstey.
Don't forget Sydney. Yeah, no, went to a couple.
Yeah, Sydney, of course.
I got to learn to say no to a few more things, I guess. If I don't feel like I'm top of the list, but if you work your way down, you probably figure I'll say yes when the others can't quite do it. So you're welcome.
I love it. Now, this is great because you're one of the more fun basketball chats going, and to the point where, I mean, you bought a pub. I'm pretty sure most of that was just to do with you being able to stand around and just talk shit with people, right?
Well, it was, and thanks for dropping in a few times, but you know what? Everybody in the basketball world in Victoria and probably Australia knows Bruce Gray, who owns Body World Gym, and everyone anyone's been through his gym at some period of time. And you just know when you turn up to the gym, you're going to run into Bruce. And I often said, mate, do you have to do anything else? He says, well, I don't need to. Everyone comes to me. And it's kind of like having a pub. Everyone now comes to me. My mates turn up. People I don't see that often turn up, and they pay for the beer. So it's fantastic. It's been a lot of fun, and now learning plenty. And the basketball team, we got kicked out of the NZNBL finals on the weekend, a 1-point double overtime loss on the buzzer.
Oof.
So a little bit heartbreaking, but fun times.
How was that actually, that experience before we get into Boom and stuff? I mean, you sort of have the first season over there in NZ. You had Slam and Sam McKinnon as the coach there for a chunk as well, and all the good stuff. Froling was over there with you guys as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. So Frol's went across to the Summer League, so we lost him for the last few regular season games in the playoffs. Mitch McCarron and Flynn Cameron had exceptional years. Carlin Davison, who's a New Zealand Breakers development player, you know, rewind the clock 20-something years and look at what Sam McKinnon was, and that's the type of athlete he was. He just didn't quite know what to do with it. So his improvement under Sammy Mack's been incredible. But I suppose, you know, Sammy being a mate, a teammate, an Olympic teammate, all those sorts of things to do this. I know he can coach. He knows he can coach. Probably not many other people do that. That stint in Brisbane in the NBL was really, really short. And he wants to do it long term. And we're really happy that we've been able to provide an opportunity for him to prove what he can do. And, you know, to get within a point of that team coached by Judd Flavel, who's done it for a lot of years, and a team who's won a lot of championships, and we're a team who's never been there. You know, under Manda was massive. So excited for Sammy and what the future might hold with his coaching, as long as it's with us, of course, for a little bit longer in the off season if he goes on to bigger and better things. Nice
one. I love that. Were you? I mean, actually, you would have been on the Magic together, wouldn't you? The two of you?
Yeah, we were. Yeah. No, he was Sunny Crust. He was all kinds of stuff. He was Slam and Sam back then. So I don't think even he knew how good he was, but we did. And a little bit like Carlin Davis. No, I've been around him a long time.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, let's start with there. I mean, the Boomers, you mentioned Sydney 2000. Like, we're about to hit Paris, Gay Paris 2024. I mean, going into a Boomers like campaign like this, where there's actually an era of expectation, it actually is kind of very similar, I guess, to 2000, right? Where you had that 2000 team was the sort of golden generation, the sort of massive, big last hurrah for like Giddey and co, right? This one is a very similar sort of vibe, right? Where there is expectations probably of a medal, of another golden generation sort of hitting its very end in Paddy and Joey and Delly and co, even though Delly reckons he wants, that's not the end of me, he says, which I love. But I mean, do you look at this team and sort of see some parallels to the 2000 team?
Yes, I think probably the obvious difference is that this team's won its medal. It did what other generations haven't been able to do, and I don't subscribe to the farewell tour. I think that every person on that team earned the right to be there. And I don't think Goorj would have selected anyone just based on that fact. He was probably one of the loudest advocates for making sure that you're looking to the future and not just rewarding people who've been there before and have an entire team turnover. I think probably the difference is that, Joe Ingles and Paddy Mills primarily, and Dally, of course, will have much smaller roles than what they've had historically. When we hit Sydney, it was Gaze, Heel, Longley, those guys, Vlahov, who retired, who were our key guys. So different generation of youth coming through now who in my opinion, is probably more prepared to transition to remain successful. But it's such a tough ask. We've spoken off air, I think, about now that we've won the medal, the expectation and everybody wanting to win one or perhaps expecting to. We don't realise how fucking hard it is. And as we continue to improve as a basketball nation, so does the rest of the world. And we don't have, as much as we love Josh Giddey and as much as we love Paddy Mills, we don't have a Luka Doncic. I know he's not going to the Olympics, or a Nikola Jokic or any of the US guys, or a guy that's been the guy in a world-class basketball team. So that'll be one of our biggest challenges, but the lead-up's been positive. Team selection raised a few eyebrows, and you would feel that Matisse Thybulle and Chris Golding wouldn't have been the happiest guys on the planet in the days after the announcement. But look, one thing I think anyone who's been around Brian Goorjian does is trust him and trust his judgment. So we sit back and we wait, and it's going to be fascinating. Yeah,
I mean, that was kind of like we had spoken actually at the pub a week or two ago about the sort of Matisse sort of being left off, and maybe Bubbles is shooting. It sort of does always feel like FIBA. You can never have enough shooting and never enough perimeter defense, right? It's like sometimes through these tournaments you sort of see that size tends to even matter as well. Like it's almost a bit of a throwback. I think you saw that with Germany in the last World Cup. They sort of just had size and size. Even Slovenia, when they sort of put a bit of size around Luka, it sort of just seemed to work really well. I mean, how do you sort of feel about the makeup of the team, having seen some of these warm-up games? We've still gone 5-1. We took to the USA, not bad. But I mean, what are you feeling after you actually have had some eyeballs on this team and the way it sort of plays together?
I feel like it doesn't mean shit. As much as we build them up now on social media, my most recent or my final Olympic Games was Beijing, and we beat Croatia by 18. We beat Croatia by 15. We played them twice in the week and a half leading up, and we had them game one, lost by 12. The Olympics is a different beast. It takes one game, one shooting display, one team that goes to an opening ceremony, one team that doesn't. There are so many variables, and I don't read into those results much. What I probably, just to go back to Matisse and Chris, is that I was, if you're Chris Golding, you're probably a little bit worried that Goorj couldn't find minutes for you at the last Olympic Games. But then I started thinking, well, he didn't even pick Dally.
Yeah.
So, I think Jack McVeigh probably played his way into that perimeter threat position over Chris in their eyes. And when you look at Matisse, Dyson, Dante and Josh Green, you've got four very similar players, especially, three if you take out Dante primarily because he's got more guard about him. And you think, well, do we take three of the same players? It's a tough thing to do. If that style of play is not working, you want to be able to mix it up a bit. So in my mind, it had probably come down to, at the time, Matisse or Dyson. They're the two most similar in my mind, or Matisse and Josh. But I'll tell you what, when you look at Giannis and you look at Team USA and you look at Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and you look at the stars on other teams that we're going to have to defend and we don't have that to deal with, my first gut feel in a man-to-man situation is Matisse. I still think back to the pull-up jump shot block on Kevin Durant last Olympic Games, and I think back to how effective he was on Luka Doncic in the bronze medal game. And the irony was I actually found myself watching Rose Gold just the other day. I hadn't seen it yet. I felt bad, and I watched it on the aeroplane, and he was executive director. I thought, oh, fuck. So now he's not on the next one. But tough calls, but we're not in the room, and I guess the group and the coaching staff and the selectors will be evaluated on the results.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of the thing as well. Like, you sort of mentioned how, Gorge, being people around him, like, you have to basically just place the faith in that Gorge knows his stuff. Like, it's tried and, proven. I mean, also, Matty Nielsen's on that stuff as well, like a Boomer teammate of yours. Like, this is the sort of thing where you look at it and go, they're there, they've seen all the scrimmages, they've been in all the practices, they sort of have tried their absolute, and like this has been the key part of it, right? They've tried to make a proper team more than anything else. Do you sort of like see this as a plan for, right, Gorge has got an idealized version of this team in his mind, and this is the best way to play to their strengths? Do you think that's sort of maybe the way that he's gone about it?
Yeah, I do. I think that was Will Magnay's selection. I think he needed that additional strong body or big body, even though he's not as tall. The dark horse for me coming in, and you never really end up playing the 11th and 12th player anyway. I would have taken Rocco Zakarsky perhaps, or really considered that different 7'3", protect the rim in the middle of his own guy, and he's going to be a massive part of our next one, so give him a look. But yeah, absolutely, that's how I think Gorge looked at it, and I think that's what a lot of casual sporting fans don't often understand is you don't pick the best 12 players, you pick the 12, you try to pick the best team. And I mean, what are the odds? To the best of my knowledge, Matisse is the first NBA guy that's ever missed out on selection for a national team.
Yeah.
It was always going to happen, and that tells you where we are as a nation. But I guess what a luxury to have, what a hard call. But one thing I do know about Gorge and Nally is that they're not going to pick favourites, and they're not going – they're going to pick a team that they think gives them the best chance to be successful.
Yeah. I mean, with that in mind, I mean, we've sort of seen through some of these warm-ups, Paddy's found his shooting touch, which is really nice and heartening, I guess. But who's your closing five? Like we sort of spent a lot of time on the starters, etc. But watching that, the win that we had over France, eventually we were able to watch the YouTube minis. They closed out basically with Paddy, Gids, Dyson, McVeigh, and Will the Thrill Magnay, which is interesting. They actually obviously gave Duop a little bit more run in that one rather than Nick Kay, just a bit of extra size up against Wemby and Gobert and co. Do you have like five that you reckon will finish games, that you have like an idealised best five?
It's got to be Landale. It's got to be Giddey. I can't see a situation where it's not Paddy, even if he's off the ball standing in a corner, whatever role that might be. And then I think it probably changes a little bit. It's going to be either Josh or Dyson, I'd imagine. If I'm closing and it's one possession, I might put Ingles in the 4 and space the floor and have someone who's been there, done that. I don't know. I think it'll be an offense-defense thing. It's, I was actually surprised. You mentioned Duop really briefly, and he didn't have a large role in the last World Cup, nor the Olympic Games. And I like him a lot, and that's probably the one role that has surprised me for a number of years now, is the lack or the smaller role that he's had, but the impact he's been able to have on the NBA game in the last year and a bit. So I just think he matches up really well athletically. He stretches the floor for us. I'd love to see him, when he gets his first quarter, first half opportunity early in the Olympics, grab it and run with that thing, because I think he can really help us. And if you said to me who's going to be a wild card or an X factor, I think it's him.
Nice.
Because Magnay hasn't played on the Boomers and hasn't played a lot of international basketball, and he's probably undersized as a pure five-man, and won't go and shoot the three when it really, really matters. I think Duop will. And I think he's fearless. So I'd love to see him have an opportunity. I think he could be someone who surprises some people. It's just whether or not that's in the coaching staff plans.
Yeah, it was weird to see Will get so much sort of run over the top, because I think seeing him up close at the scrimmages and then the China games as well, he looks wildly fit, does Duop. Like, he is just, I think, shredded at the moment, like ready and raring to go, which was kind of neat to see. But outside of this as well, I mean, the opponents that we have in the group stages, I mean, it's the group of death, as we keep saying. I've already, said, why is it the group of death? Well, it's a murderer's row. That's how this rolls, right? Simple.
You know what? In a 12-nation tournament, every group's a group of death.
Yeah, but I would feel better if we're playing like Puerto Rico and South Sudan. Just saying. Just saying. Like, US.
I'll tell you what. I'd feel better playing Puerto Rico. South Sudan are scary, man. If you do want to put some merit into these lead-up games, they match up better against Team USA and Canada than what we do. And you talk about length and athleticism bothering us. That's all that's them.
Yep.
So, it was interesting. I heard Paul Pierce's comment and sort of speaks to the ignorance of the USA to an extent where he wondered if there was anyone over 6'3".
It's ridiculous.
They might be, them and Canada, I think, are probably the two best examples globally of the accelerated improvement of countries we haven't been watching.
Yep.
And they could be I'm going to be fascinated watching them. I'm going to tune into their games. But look, the Spanish team sort of matches up with us with the veteran experience, and they've got that same sort of makeup as we did. And that has to be a must-win. Canada, to me, are one of the top three teams in this, and talent-wise, athletic-wise, we don't match up with them, and we don't. They've got a couple of. They go to Shea, and they've got that guy that we don't. Shit, who have I missed?
The last one's Greece.
Oh, Greece. Oh, yeah, you've got to defend Giannis. It might come down to that, but Greece is so well drilled. They're so. What they do without the ball's incredible. They're well drilled. They're well coached. It's like a machine when you play against them, but you add Giannis. It's like a cheat code to that machine. So I think their size could bother us, and their Giannis's athleticism can bother us. But I've said publicly, and I don't think I own too many fans, but I don't mean it in any show of disrespect. But when you look at what is success for this group, I think it's getting out of the pool and getting to the quarters.
Yep.
And anything else, and that's a bonus. What I hope the Australian basketball public doesn't feel it is if we just miss out on the pool or lose in the quarters that we've failed.
Yep.
I think we've just got to take a bit more time to understand the quality of opposition we're competing against.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing, right? Like, you look, that Spain thing is obviously like the pivot game, and the fact that it's the first game of the entire tournament is insane. Because you don't want to say, it's a must win, but it's like every game in Olympics is a must win. Like, it's simple as that.
Well, you know what? And I'm lived it. And like I said, in the 2008 Olympics, I think Andrew Bogut and I are the only two guys in the team that didn't go to the opening ceremony, and that takes it out of you. It's a 7-hour ordeal. You're on your feet, then you play a game the next day, and it's not a normal preparation. And as we look downstairs into the quadrangle, Croatia are down there stretching and preparing. And I'm not saying that's the reason, because we went to the opening ceremony, but the biggest distraction in the Olympic Games is the Olympic Games. Yeah. And I don't think we understood that as a group or as a nation back then, as a collective. I think they know that now. But us losing to Croatia in that first game, we played, in my opinion, one of the best games of international basketball a Boomers team had ever played, to beat Lithuania by 30. We'd never beaten Lithuania, and we killed them. And it was this incredible game. But because we'd lost to Croatia, I don't give a shit how well you're playing. We crossed over against the USA. So the record books will show that we finished, I think, 9th because we lost our crossover game to the USA and then won through. But that game against Croatia, that very first game of the Olympic Games, as you've just described, that's the one that sits really uncomfortably in my gut.
Yeah, I think getting out of the group, you just want to see it happen. Like, that's all you want. That's all I kind of want. That's like a rip-roaring success for me, I think. When you look at the group that we've got, the team that we've taken, I think I've said in another video, like, get into the quarters and anything can fucking happen right at that point, and away you go. So
100%.
You've already mentioned South Sudan. Are there any other teams that you want to keep an eye on for the rest of the tournament?
Canada's just always fascinated me. You know what? I just think, everyone's talking about Team USA, and clearly they're a team that everyone will be watching. But go back to the comment about the construction of a team that's going to win. They've almost picked the best 12 players available, almost. Yep. When you're the number 1 or 2 guy in an NBA team, traditionally you don't defend. And that's not your role. You just switch off and you don't often do it. I think they're going to be able to be scored against. I'm not sure how sound their defensive strategies are going to be. I think they're probably more beatable than people think. Now, of course, they can blow any team out by 30 with their offensive weapons, but, I'm fascinated to see what they look like, how they come together, who their 11th and 12th guys are, who goes into the tank because they've got a smaller role, and who sooks up because it'll happen. Who their go-to guy is, because I've got no fucking idea. Yeah. It may still be LeBron. I don't know. Anthony Edwards thinks it's him. But I'm fascinated to see if they face adversity and how they manage it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You watch a couple of those warm-up games, you're like, wait, should the 11th or 12th dude be Joel Embiid? Like, he's meant to be their starting 5, but he's not very well suited to FIBA at all. He keeps fouling out. He's slow. He can't really defend the perimeter dudes at all. So you're much better off serving, I reckon, going with AD and Bam and sort of rolling it out from there. But, talk about cheat codes. Like, they've still just got Steph. And it's like, that's just, come on, man. Like, he's like an afterthought at this point. That's insane. But outside of that, before we let you go, what's your sort of prediction? Like, what do you think they can achieve? Like, optimistic Chris versus pessimistic Chris.
Optimistic Chris is exactly what you say, is that we find our way, we battle our way through to the quarterfinals and take a swing at whoever the hell it is we cross over against. But I think if we get out of the group, it'll be as a low seed. So we're going to have a really, really tough quarterfinal crossover, whoever it is. So for me, again, that's the pass mark, is the quarterfinals. Anything other than that is just an exceptional effort. Negative Chris says, shit, we might not get out of the pool and we go home, however they classify 9 through 12. And that'd be gutting for the playing group, I think, for a lot of people who expect more. But again, I understand how tough that is. But I'll be tuning everyone that, hey, we got really lucky with the time of day here in Australia that the games are broadcast, so we don't have to set stupid o'clock alarms and, get up in the middle of the night to watch. So I can't wait. We haven't mentioned the Opals yet, and I know you will, but, I'm just as excited as watching them and as fascinated to see what LJ does. You mentioned Paddy Mills and Joe Ingles and Daly. What Lauren Jackson's been able to do is just incredible. I'm fascinated to see how Izzy Borlase goes, as someone coming into the group like Josh Giddey's come into ours, and there are probably as many stories to tell on their side as well. So I'm really fascinated to watch them. Fascinated to see Team USA on the women's side as well, because their team's out of control as well. Can't wait. We're close now, mate.
It is. We're going to be doing a live stream. I'm on holidays, which is awesome. We literally get into Noosa on Saturday. And, I'll be set up doing a live stream from 7 p.m. on the Saturday, no doubt with a murderous wife just in the background, just, going, I can't believe he's doing this. We've literally landed first day of holidays. Fuck you, you ginger bastard will be the vibes, I reckon. So it's going to be...
Go get some credits in the next few days, mate.
I need to. I really need to. Awesome. This has been a great little preview. Thanks for jumping on, Chris. Appreciate it.
Great to chat. See you, mate.
All right, how good was that chat with Chris Anstey? Now, from one former Boomer to a current Boomer, it's our chat with Josh Giddey right now.
Quick, Josh, the footy's about to start. It's Josh Giddey, it's NBA Australia. What's going on, Josh? How you doing? I'm tired. I'm angry. Hey, Boomers, excited?
Very excited. Chance to win a gold medal at the Olympic Games. First ever one for Australia, so we're going to get to Paris.
Sure, but at the same time, what do you have to do to win that gold medal?
Wow, a lot of things right. There's a lot of good teams and very small margin of error at the Olympics. It's only 12 teams, so one bad game can cost you, and one good game can put you right where you want to be. So got to stack good games together, and the result will take care of itself.
Most iconic Boomer off the top of your head, quick.
Andrew Gaze.
Ooh, he went Gaze instead of Paddy. I'm just saying. Oh, fuck, it's all over now.
They both are. I mean, Drury was my idol growing up. He was my coach for a long time.
I was going to say, he's your fucking mate.
Yeah,
Like,
Drury's I'm very close with the Gaze family, so I'll go with Drury. Paddy's obviously right up there winning.
Nice one. Is it cool watching Greedy and Dante right now in the finals? They snagged a win in Game 4 today. You're about to go into the squad camp with them at some point the next month.
Very exciting. Obviously happy for them. They beat us. So
I was going to say, you pissed as well?
Yeah, a little bit about that. But, they're both having a big impact in the final series. And Dallas got one today, so we'll see what happens in Game 5.
Do you like their chances? Can anyone come back from 0-3? How hard is that, just from a simple point of, like, fuck, you have to beat them 4 straight times?
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, after just being beat 3 straight times, you got to win 4 in a row. So it's not easy, but I think this Dallas team has shown that they can, overcome odds and deficits. And I think if a team can do what they can.
That's very nice. Hey, how much did it suck in that second round series when you're being left alone and then you see Josh Green? He's also being left alone for those threes. And you're like, fucking come on, stop picking on the Aussies. This is bullshit.
I know. I mean, it's, teams have to do different things to win games. So he's been great. I think Josh has really proved as a shooter. And teams are going to stop all that to win. And
God, when he hit that shot,
knock him down. So he was great. So was Dante.
Yeah, Dante was amazing today. The Tarneets era. You're both from the Western Burbs.
I'm the Yarraville boy. I think he's like Werribee, Point area. So Tani, yeah, we're both from the west side.
Tough seats.
Yeah.
Not as west as Ballarat. I'm just saying. There we go.
West as it gets.
And then we go. We've got, you go a bit northwest, you've got Bendigo like Dyson, right?
That's a long way away.
Anyway, but the vibes here. So how would you beat a team like Team USA, do you reckon, in these Olympics?
We got to play together, play as a team, be unselfish. They got a talented team, but I think, chemistry and all that does play a big part of the Olympics. So, don't be fearful of anybody. Once we get out there and the ball gets tipped, it's just about the basketball game and we'll be ready to go.
Just get paid to score 42 every game as well.
That will certainly help. Yeah.
Fuck, I still remember that I was watching that game just going, this is the greatest moment in Australian basketball history. I'm loving it.
I mean, I watched it too.
I was going to say, where were you watching?
I was in Oklahoma when it happened, watching it. It was late. It was early in the morning. And, I remember watching it. It was probably the best performance Australians ever had at the Olympics.
Yeah. So you weren't on the Tokyo team. You were sitting there going, fuck, we're about to play the Olympics. Does that push you? Does that push you to that next level of going, fuck, yes, we're going to do it this time?
I mean, definitely. I mean, it's hard to sit there and watch when you want to be there and play and, feel like you can contribute and help the team. But at the time, I was a young kid and I probably wasn't ready. And 3 years later, my time is coming. I'm ready to go now. And, I want to do my part in helping our team and Australia get its first ever gold medal.
I just want to see Paddy get a gold medal.
That'd be great as well.
It'd be cool for you.
Yeah.
But by the same token, Paddy
as well.
All right. There you go. Josh Giddey, NBA Australia. Thanks, man.
No problems.
How good was that chat with Josh Giddey? That was pretty good. It was. It was a bit short, but you get that on the big jobs. Same thing happens with our Dyson Daniels chat. It's a very fun one with a current Boomer again. Let's go to me and Dyson Daniels at the footy, hanging out. Just best mates.
All right. NBA Australia with Dyson Daniels. Back at the footy.
Footy's great. No tides, man. Look. Yeah.
Dusty's 300. Feeling fine? What do you reckon? Has he got 3 more snags in it?
Dusty's 300. I think he might have kicked 1 by now, but he's a second half player, so he turns up when we need him, and we need him right now. So I'm expecting maybe 3 in the third and 2 in the fourth to finish with 6.
I like it. All right. The big questions. Let's do it real quick. Boomers.
I'm excited, man. We got a good squad coming in. There's a lot of potential there for us. We just got to go out there and make the most of it. We've got a good squad who's looking to play well together, and I'm looking forward to the Olympics. So first time.
What's your role on a potential Boomers squad?
I mean, it's not definitive yet, but I'm trying to take a bigger role. I know that I'm always going to bring defensive intensity and stop. I'll be a lockdown defender, but I've been working on my offensive game. So I'm looking to be more of a playmaker. Be able to create for guys like Giddey, Paddy, Ingles, like these guys who are really good at playing off the ball. I think I can have a bigger role in creating for them. So I'm looking to take a bigger role on. For the Boomers this year, and it's all going to come down to how I do in training camp, so I'm looking forward to it.
So if you had to dunk on somebody in the Boomers squad, who are you going to do?
I had to dunk on someone, I'd probably put it through my legs on Jock because Jock talks a lot. So
He talks a lot of shit.
Yeah, if I can put it on Jock, that'll be my number one option. And then Joe, just because Joe doesn't shut up either.
Has Joe taught you much about shit talking?
We played each other in one of the last games of the season, and he was talking a lot. I think I hit like 4 threes on him. He was telling me about my percentage, which wasn't very good, but he hasn't taught me anything. But I don't want to be taught my shit talking. I want it to come naturally. So hopefully, we can have a bit of fun in camp, talk some trash. It's part of the game. Nice one.
Does Zion do cool shit in practice?
Zion is you see some cool stuff in practice, but he's more of a cool, but he doesn't in game more. We try to keep our best players healthy in practice, so we don't want him doing cool stuff. That could always get him hurt. So
nice one. So Boomers vibes, Paris, you're not on the Tokyo team.
Yeah.
Do you use that as like a bit of a fucking motivation? Be like, let's go, fucking come on.
For sure. I think, sitting back and watching the Tokyo team and how well they did was pretty special. But, to kind of really have my first opportunity to play in the Olympics now and be right there in front of me, I'm gonna go give it my all and, go show them that I should be on that team. And I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to the opportunity, and nothing better than playing in the Olympics.
Hey, can you also just not get hurt one of these years?
I know, that'd be good. I've been through a lot of injuries, a lot of ankle injuries, a lot of knee injuries. So hopefully that's all out of the way and we can have a healthy year. So I'm looking forward to that.
Because I don't know about you, but it shits me up the wall.
Yeah.
That we don't get to see you play full season.
It shits me a lot more than it shits you, I'll tell you that. That rehab's not fun, and to be on the sidelines watching is less fun as well. So, be out there on the floor with the boys, being able to help them win and play some basketball is what I want to do. And, injuries stop that. So hopefully we can stop stepping on people's feet, stay healthy.
All right, real quick. Best player you've played against so far in the NBA?
Best player I've played against. Toughest player to guard and best player to play against is different. The best player is LeBron. He's the best player I've played against, but toughest player to guard, I think, is Steph. Just the way he's able, if you don't block his shot, then he really doesn't see a contest. So if he gets a shot off, then it's a lose-lose situation for you.
Awesome. Well, what's the prediction for Paris?
For who?
For Paris. Paris.
Oh, Paris.
I'm being smart. Come on. I'm trying to sound French,
Okay.
Dyson. You fucking killed
Paris. Croissant. I think Boomers will come home with a gold medal. Australia will be at the top of the list in total gold medals across all sports.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we're gonna make a big stand this year. So high expectations, but I think we're due for a couple more goals, and looking forward to it.
Most iconic Boomer.
Most iconic Boomer. That's got to be Paddy. I think Paddy. He's done so much for the culture of the squad, and he has brought so much attention to it. But it's definitely Paddy.
Nice one. All right, Dyson Daniels, NBA Australia. You're a legend. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is Nick Kay, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do it. I've actually been, I remember that I've got some yeah-nahs. So before we have a look at the Spain-Australia game, how good was that chat with Chris Anstey? That was sick. How good is Josh Giddey? Awesome. That was fun. He was pretty into it, was Josh Giddey. He's like, hang on a second, this guy's not a nerd. This is great. And then Dyson Daniels is the exact same. He's like, hang on a second, this guy knows ball. This is sweet. I'm sick of talking to Australian footy journalists. Anyway, let's do it. Some yeah-nahs. I got sent a couple. Let's see if I can find them all. Lukey F. Old Luke Fragonia. Yeah-nah. Frenchie's getting drafted left and right over the last few seasons, including 3 top 2 picks, 2 of them number 1, as well as a solid core of NBA and EuroLeague pros and vets. As far as FIBA is concerned, after such a rough exit at last Worlds, are the French back? Yeah, nah. Well, after their warm-up games, nah. They still have Frankie Smokes as well. I didn't even mention him earlier. This French team should be awesome. And look, to be honest, I reckon, as I said, I don't put a giant amount of stock in the warm-up games. But Frankie Smokes, Evan Fournier and co, they should be fucking good. They're going to be fine. Then he also mentioned Lukey F. This is the one thing I sort of wish I had more time and wherewithal to do for Summer League. But Lukey F, he says, I know Summer League ain't shit, but based off Firth's last 3 games, first blush, Johnny Tins for Rookie of the Year? Yeah, nah. Yeah, let's bloody go, Johnny Furphy. He looked so fucking at home for a dude who played, that year at Kansas, basically works his way into lottery pick projections, then fucking falls out of the first round, gets snaffled by the Pacers at 35, signs the 4-year deal, and comes out and is like, hey, I'm the second coming of Larry Bird. Check this the fuck out. What do you reckon? And off he went, right? So he's feeling pretty bloody good. He's stoked. Producer homie's looking worried. But either way, the vibe is we've got Johnny Furphy Tins. He's hanging out. Rookie of the year. Even the Pacers like, fuck, we've got one. Like when you do social media posts, like, whoa, fucking, we've found one in the rough, man. Like, this is pretty good. Like, that's awesome. So great job. Johnny Tins, I'm here for it. Dan Drosher has another one as well. I think he sent in a couple. Whoa. Yeah, nah, Boomers culture might carry us to a few Olympic wins. But this team is unbalanced. I've calmed down, enjoyed the US game, but it's still clear we need shooting. 4 of 17 from 3 is rough. Delhi over Goulding still confounds. This team needs a knockdown shooter off the bench. Can't be McVeigh or bust. No Matisse is inexcusable, but our D was a bright spot in that second half. Ingles over him is still a head scratcher. Lastly, where's Duop? Punishment for throwing the flying headbutts against China? Yeah, nah. Dan Drosher makes a few good points here. And we sort of hit on it with Chris, right? Like about the way that you're constructing your team for FIBA ball is you're trying to play to your team's strengths rather than sort of, do the other sort of approach of, here, there, and everywhere. And if Bubbles was kind of like, Jesus Christ, they couldn't find like minutes for me at the World Cup. Why would they find minutes for me now? And they took Delhi to this one when they didn't take him last time. It is still very strange. And I'm the world's biggest King Delhi defender. He is my liege lord after all. I am Team Delhi all the time. But fuck yeah, shooting off the bench, just break in case of emergency. You're down like 15. What are you going to do? How do you come back? Well, you hit a couple of threes with just like some gun shoot off the bench. It's breaking my heart. Dan also goes on to say, this is AD's team. He's talking about Team USA. He was out there putting in more effort in a warm-up game than the rest of the USA roster. Look, AD has like this really strange position in NBA history where he gloms on with LeBron. They win that fake that fake title, the Mickey Mouse ring. It's hard to win an NBA title. I get it. But you also did it when you did nothing but shoot in an empty gym and like in front of nobody, pressure off, weird. Still, AD's legacy could be just absolute like weapon, all-time weapon that was always kind of weirdly underutilized. And maybe, just maybe, this is his last gasp of like being an absolute like, hang on a second, am I the best player on Team USA right fucking now? Check this out. Ride this Olympic shit and go into one more Lakers season with like LeBron fucking hanging out with his son, whatever. Just like, what do you do with it? Like, I'd be sitting there going, oi, come here, boy, just punching the leg. That's what LeBron's really doing with Bronny, right? AD could be sitting there going, this is my fucking, look at me, I'm the captain now, right? Do that, AD. That'd be fun. What else we got? Couple of good ones. Oh, yeah, recorded the Boomers game. I've got a couple of questions, says Matty G. When did the Gold Coast Rollers come back? And when did they sign Will the Thrill Magnay? Yeah, that was weird when they're like, the Gold Coast Rollers, Will Magnay. It's like, yeah, that's Wikipedia there. Jesus, what's going on? He played it for the Tassie Jack Jumpers. They won the bloody title, mate. Bit of NBL 1. What else we got? Matty O. Oh, I like this one. So Matty O sent through the simple idea that Alex Sarr, a.k.a. Alex the Star, 0 of 15 in Summer League. Pretty brutal shooting vibes, right? Pretty funny game. Better than Alex Sarr to replace better than Lonzo Ball. Don't mind it. Don't mind it at all. Little bit here for it. All right, that was a couple of yeah-nahs. How about a bit of an Outback Takehouse? It's Tuesday at Outback. You know what that means? Yep. I took both the squids to school and daycare this morning. The baby's hanging out the side of the bloody pram with a cricket bat. The other one's on his scooter knocking over stuff and just wailing with like a baseball bat. I'll tell you what, got a couple of magpies in there. Chucked them underneath the pram, took them home, chucked them in the slow cooker, and boom, away you go. Slow roasted magpie wings. Only at Outback. And today's Flame Grill take is... We all know that the Boomers doom and gloom out there about not taking Matty T. It's a bit tough. We all get it. But you know what? Sometimes, just sometimes, you got to put your faith in Gorge. That's why today's Outback Takehouse is the Boomers are going undefeated in the group stages. They're winning their fucking quarterfinal and they're winning the gold. Simple as that. Boomers undefeated all the way through the Paris Olympics. Let's bloody go. We're riding Fever Paddy into the sunset with a golden sunset. Only at Outback. Not bad. Let's do it. Time for a game preview. Game preview. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. It's good to have you back. Not a problem, Jim. Are you excited for your holiday where you work the entire time? I mean, I am. I'm going to look. When I say work as well, I'm going to be sitting there live streaming Boomers games, sinking 1 million tins, talking shit on the internet with my friends. That's great. That's not work. Really? So I'm excited. But first game of the Paris Olympics, the basketball tournament, is Spain-Australia, which is pretty crazy that we have the first cab off the rank, but it works out great for us because it is Saturday at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. That is awesome. Let's go. It's like quite literally prime time for the Aussies. So we're $1.40 favourites at the moment to $2.96 for Spain. So that means we are 5.5 point favourites. I don't mind that. 5.5 feels about fair. I kind of wish they'd put more stock in Spain though. So I'm not convinced Australia will do this one easy. My pick would probably be that the Aussies win it by about 4. So I'd probably go Spain plus 5.5. They are a well-drilled, hard-nosed, just tough fucking team to get by, are the Spaniards. And the Boomers are very good. We've got a lot of talent. We should beat them. But it's the first game. It's always a little bit fucking wonky. Just keep that in mind. So I'd probably take Spain plus 5.5 if you're looking at the line, but I'm going to go the Boomers head-to-head. Go the Aussies. And if you want to look at, there's none of the player stuff in there yet because we're still a few days out. That'll dive up there. Interested to see what the Paddy over-under for his points would be. I'd probably lean towards the over for Paddy. We'll probably put out a bit of a video probably on Friday about some of the vibes on some of the player props for that game too, though. But at the moment, Australia for the win over Spain. You go with the head of your heart there, Jim. Why not both? Lift them up. There we go. Good stuff. All right, so that's it. Spain, Australia, 7 p.m. Saturday. We will also be doing a live stream for that as well because that's what we do on NBA Australia. We'll be live streaming all of those Boomers games, even though I will be on holiday for quite literally all of those group stage games. But that's okay. I have a very understanding wife. Old mate's probably going to drown me in the pool. She's just like, stay under. Yep, I don't care how many tins you've had. Good night. So we'll see you on the socials at 7 p.m. on Saturday. We might pop up for another quick show later on this week, but probably not. We'll probably just do a quick little player prop preview, maybe video on Friday, just to sort of have a look at some of the cool little things that we can. Otherwise, thanks massively to Chris Anstey for jumping on, as well as, of course, Josh Giddey and Dyson Daniels, current Boomers, as well as a former Boomer there. That was really, really fun. I always just love having Chris on the show just to talk some shit. His pub's great as well. Go check it out. Hotel Trentham in Trentham. In the meantime as well, make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey, IG, all the good stuff. TikTok as well. We will be going live, I think, on the YouTube channel, Facey, Instagram, maybe Twitter as well. I'm not entirely sure, but most of them. So that'll be the live stream Saturday at 7 with the Boomers. It should be awesome. Jump on for some tins and some hangs. Get around the NFL Straya vibes as well. Myself and Gaz, we'll be relaunching that very, very soon ahead of the NFL season. And get around the AFL Today show, the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast, as well as Hold All Tickets as well. They're all the other shows that we do. They're all very, very good. So check us a rating and review across all of your podcast apps on your Apple, your Spotify, your YouTubes, all that good stuff. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube, what are you doing? You're taking the piss, mate. Come on. You can watch all this, just saying. Get around NBAaustralia.com/shop and get your merch. And a big thanks go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song. Check out their new band House Hats, as well as Joshua Dillarentis, Fascinator, Goldmines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section A, Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear on NBA Australia, so you can check them all out on Bandcamp, Triple J on Earth, Facey, Apple Music, Spotify, However you listen to your tunes, follow your bands, do so. They rule. NBA Australia supports Australian bands, so should you. All right, that'll do us for a bit of an Olympic preview show of NBA Australia. We will catch you on Saturday, you legends. This is NBA Australia saying, go Boomers! Come on! Look after yourselves, would ya? And see you Saturday at 7 p.m. Later as a night!